Welcome back to the Fish Tank right here on the Miami Dolphins Podcast Network. Seth Levitt, DJ Preach is on the ones and twos, and of course, my main man, OJ McDuffie. Juice, we're back in the Wingfield living room.
Yes, sir, Big Seth. You know that, man. I love it over here, as you know. And, man, talk about guests, man.
Yeah, much
anticipated.
talking
about my side of the
Often
ball.
requested if we get
ball.
on offense. So, Anthony Fasano, I messed this up last time. Anthony Fasano, welcome to the Fish Tank.
Thanks for having me. Good
Man,
to be
it's
here.
great to have you. And Juice, anytime I get a defensive guest, like he gets a little salty,
Yeah.
he kind of stops returning my calls.
That's right.
He doesn't mess with the defensive
You got
guys.
to stay on the
too
right
often.
side of the ball.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we're pumped to have you here. And it's funny, you were just talking about believing the internet, and I want to get into that. But before I do, you know, we've got a lot to cover. But I want to talk about your high school. So we know you're a Jersey guy. Is it Verona? Am I pronouncing
Verona.
that right?
Yep.
Verona High School. Juice, do you know the name of the mascot for the Verona High School?
No, what is it?
The Hillbillies.
The
In
Hillbillies.
Jersey.
The Hillbillies.
Interesting.
I did not expect Anthony Fasano from Jersey to be a hillbilly.
It's
Help me
pretty
out.
confusing. You
Okay,
know, not
all
only
right.
not only a town full of Italians and Irish kids,
Yeah.
the mascot's hillbilly, and in today's day and age, I mean, it could be taken maybe a little offensive.
Right.
You know,
Right, I
so
didn't think about that.
I remember. I mean, it's always been the town I grew up in, so it was just what we knew. But when I was in high school, there was a little rumbling of them trying to change the name.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the PC game started coming into play, and the Old Faithful came out and they said, "There's no way we're changing it." But they did change it. So it was like a hillbilly-looking character, and he had a shotgun and a barrel of moonshine.
Oh, he had moonshine.
But
Your
they
high school
changed.
mascot
They
had
changed
moonshine.
it. They changed it to a fishing pole and a dog.
It still works.
Yeah. So it was a shotgun and moonshine. But right around my time, probably right around 2000, they changed it.
That is hilarious.
That is
The
good
Hillbillies. I read that. I had to go back and read it twice, and then I like double checked that there wasn't some kind of mistake. And then let me tell you, I don't know if like one of your buddies hacked your Wikipedia account or what have you. So I start reading this thing. I said, Juice, how many touchdowns did you score in your high school career? And it was pretty impressive.
81.
Was it 81? Did you stop at 81? Or
Yeah, on purpose.
Okay. So 81's a lot. Now look, I know that you had to be a beast in high school based on your NFL career, but this says that you had 47 touchdowns your senior year. Is that right?
I don't want to dispel that because that's a great stat.
Yeah.
But the internet wins. You know, you just can't believe it. As you know, Wikipedia has editing abilities. So I
Right.
think my brother and his goofball friends probably edited and tweaked a couple things in my favor. But I'll take it. I've been tweaked in the wrong way a lot of times, so I'm not touching that.
No, listen, I was like, oh my God, this guy should have been an Olympian or something. I started reading this thing and it said, we're going to talk about baseball, but it said his first time ever stepping up to the mound as a freshman that you threw a perfect game.
That was an exaggeration. I was a one-hitter.
Okay.
It was a one-hitter.
All right.
Freshman year
So
in
yeah,
varsity,
but
it
47 touchdowns and then 180 or something your entire career.
yeah, no, I think that's a little exaggerated.
Okay.
But I'm not going to put real numbers on it, but it's not that high.
Man, obviously your numbers were impressive enough, you know, to earn you a Division I scholarship. But my question is this. Jersey boy, go to Notre Dame. How the hell did you skip over Penn State on the way, man? I mean, we're right there on the way, bro. What the hell?
I grew up kind of a Penn State fan. A lot of people liked Penn State where I was growing up. So I was getting recruited by Al Golden. And like he's just a master recruiter. And in Penn State, kind of getting excited. My dad's like, Joe Paterno. We go out there, kind of getting lined up to really consider it. And then Al Golden leaves and goes to Virginia. So then Penn State got like cold on me. I don't know if it was some kind of
we blew it.
agreement
We messed up again.
or something. Like they were getting cold, and I'm like,
man.
okay.
Oh,
I'm like, all right, no more.
Juice comes in here and goes, how come you didn't go to Penn State? And then somehow they blew it.
I think there were some rough years too.
well, because you didn't go there.
Yeah,
Your fault. I'm blaming you. I blame people for all kinds of stuff.
Blame me. Put it on.
So a great career at Notre Dame leads you to become a second-round draft pick by the Dallas Cowboys. You know, 2 years there, and that whole crew comes here. Tony Sperano takes over at the helm there, and they trade for you. You know, and that certainly isn't unexpected. But talk about that. I always wonder, you know, dream come true. You get drafted. You're playing for a big-time team like that. Dallas, they're larger than life. and 2 years later, you're getting traded. What was that like as a young guy in your career?
You know, I felt like I was in a fortunate position to be drafted to Dallas, mostly because Jason Witten was there. And it was a double-edged sword because I learned a ton from him. But I knew it would be tough to get out of his shadow.
Right.
I was in Vegas, and I got a call from Jeff Ireland. He says, hey, we traded for you. I'm like, what? He's like, can you get here tomorrow? I go, there's no way I'll be there tomorrow. No shot. I was like, I'm in Vegas. I'll be there in a couple days. You know, honestly, it was really exciting because I knew the guys that drafted me. They were bringing me there, have an opportunity. Didn't know kind of the team or what Miami had going on, but I was excited to be able to blaze my own path there. But it was cool to be part of the turnaround team too. Really, you know, going 11-5. It was kind of like the land of misfit toys. Pennington and all these guys are kind of on their second opportunities, and a bunch of good players in their own right, but weren't really fitting in wherever they were. A bunch of Dallas guys came here and really created something special for the first year.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of turnaround, I mean, a big part of that turnaround in 08 was the Wildcat. Something that, you know, no Dolphin fan will ever forget what happened with Wildcat. And we've had Ricky and Ronnie in the tank here, and we've heard their perspective on how the Wildcat was for them, you know. But what about you? You know, Ronnie, you know, gets all the credit for throwing a touchdown pass, of course, but you were not into that thing. So talk about your perspective in Wildcat, and then when that play was called, what were you thinking in the huddle?
So in camp, going back to camp that year, they would like throw a wrinkle in every now and then. I was like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? You know,
everybody had that reaction, right?
Like, yeah. I'm like, are we that desperate? Like, are we really practicing this stuff? And then we start out 0-2, and we lose in Arizona. On a plane ride home, I remember like, hey, we're gonna bust it out. So it was like a kind of an excitement, you know, for that week that we all knew that something we're gonna throw a wrinkle in there. And honestly, I think it got over-exaggerated. It really like took on the Wildcat, but we probably ran 8 plays a game, you know, out of 70-something plays.
All big ones, though.
I
Yeah.
was going to say the success
Yeah,
that
the
first
success
game
of
is
those
why
plays,
that happened.
Yeah,
right?
and it was great that it was in New England.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
and Ronnie I caught Ronnie's touchdown. It was a really good wrinkle. Kind of gave us a bunch of energy, more so than mismatches, you know, over time. But it was something that the other teams had to spend a lot of time on, you know, for the whole year moving forward, how to defend it.
A few good years here, really productive, and in 2011, things start to go sideways a little bit. It's the last year for Coach Sperano here in Miami, and then Joe Philbin comes in. And so for you, you're 6-7 years into your career now and really had been with the same crew, even though it was 2 different teams, you'd been with the same crew. What was that transition like? You know, how different was the experience?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I knew is that regime, that kind of style and theme of coaching. But Philbin came in, it was a little different tempo, a little speed. And I just thought it was time to move on after that season.
Gotcha.
And honestly, I valued staying in Miami and wanting to stay. Dan Campbell was my coach still. I loved him. I wanted to create kind of a legacy and be a, you know, longtime Dolphin. But went out to Kansas City. But spent a couple years away, but ended up coming back my last year. So,
Yeah, no place like home.
Yeah.
You head out to Kansas City, and they drafted a tight end in the 3rd round, Travis Kelce. And needless to say, Kelsey's carving his own place in history, but he also apparently gives you a lot of credit for his development, where he's at as a tight end. How's that make you feel, you know, about him looking at you the same way you looked at Jason Witten in Dallas?
A lot of pride there. You know, I knew what Jason did for me and kind of wanted to pay it forward, but almost subconsciously. It's just kind of what you're trying to do. And I knew the better he would be and come along, the better a team would be. And then, you know, he blew up from there and, you know, Hall of Fame guy, first ballot. And, you know, but it's good to have a little credit there. Absolutely. And, you know, put a little imprint on his career.
I think one of the things that we can really tell that he got from you is ability to block.
Yeah, well, I knew where my bread was buttered, you know. I knew I would stay in this league and have value on teams, you know, if I can block. And then, you know, I get some balls my way, and you got to catch them, you know. So I have dependable hands, and I took pride in taking the garbage man role. That's my role, and that's my value, is to do all the dirty work and, you know, pass protect against a good rusher to be able to double up an inside guy. No matter how football and offenses evolve, there's going to be a need for that. So I think that role is here to stay.
Yeah, as we said, gaudy football numbers, multi-sport star. There's one thing I didn't see there, though, for the Hillbillies, and there was nothing about bowling. And from what I understand, there was a team activity here, and they took you guys bowling, and that apparently was one of the, I'll call it a sport juice. Can we? I don't
It's
know
a
if
sport,
Anthony-
absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that was one that wasn't necessarily in the skill set, didn't make the Wikipedia bio, and you didn't have your greatest performance. You were questioned about the performance or lack thereof, and you said, hey, where I'm from, cool guys don't bowl.
Verbatim quote. It's true. I'll stamp
That's
that
accurate.
as factual.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like one of those days in camp where like coaches throw you a bone and like you're stretching and he's like, practice is over, we're going bowling. I'm like, oh great, we don't have to practice, but I'm like, bowling? Like,
Can we go to
just
the
send me
beach?
home. Like, it's really, I'll just like sleep.
Do I have to wear the shoes,
Yeah,
coach?
yeah. So we're bowling, and apparently, like a lot of people bowl. I didn't bowl. Like when growing up in Jersey, like I don't know, it wasn't like a thing.
Yeah,
I think
bowling
bowling
alleys
alleys are kind of gross,
Right,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
dirty,
Like
and it's like
carpet.
I wasn't a bowler, so I was piss poor. Plus, it was like I probably didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Dude's like, what happened? Like I expect you to be good. I'm like, I'm cool. Like cool guys
I
don't
think
really
we power
bowl.
the ball down there and just destroy
Yeah.
pins,
Overhead
you know?
throw or
Yeah,
something.
whatever it is.
Cool guys don't bowl. That might be the name of this episode.
Yeah.
Cool guys don't bowl.
I love it. I love it. Well, you know, he's the executive director for the Jason Taylor Foundation. I run my own foundation. We just talked about the Catch 81 Foundation. Tell us about the Anthony Fasano Foundation.
You know, I grew up, like we said, in Jersey, small, tight-knit community, a couple miles from New York City. So, you know, wanted to be able to give back. I mean, not a lot of people came, you know, out of Verona and made it to the pros. So, wanted to give back and was introduced to really cool charity, an autistic school in northern New Jersey. I had a cousin with autism, and then also, for some reason, the tri-state area up there had a higher proportionate number of children with autism.
Wow.
So it was somewhat of a local problem, didn't really know why, and there wasn't a lot of resources at the time. Raised some money through a couple events to be able to get them off the ground, and the school's thriving right now. I had a couple graduating classes, and it's really grown. So that, and you know, I have a soft spot for veterans and you know, all the people in our service. So I've created a couple of events to be able to raise some money and give to some good military causes as well. You start thinking, what's my legacy going to be? How are people going to view me, you know, as I get older, on your deathbed? Like, what have you done? And being able to use that platform, be able to help some people, I think is definitely worth the effort.
And then you know, you have I guess it's a business, it's for profit, so to speak, but it also is of an altruistic nature, and it's the rehabilitation centers. Can you talk a little bit about that and kind of how you got into that, and where, you know, are you still running those centers?
Yeah, so before I retired, I started my own center here in South Florida. Had a family member go through drug addiction and treatment and started working in it, and made it his passion. I got behind him, and we built the team and had a really nice program. I was able to meet a business owner out in Colorado who's starting a treatment center. He proposed the idea that we merge, so I brought our center out there, and it's doing great. I was just out there last week. It's something that takes up a lot of my time, you know, in retirement, but I love doing it, and now I'm in charge of getting retired athletes into treatment.
Oh, wow.
So we've treated almost 200 retired NFL players in the last 2 years with mental
incredible.
health and addiction services.
You talked about how you came back here and you finished your career here, your final season. What was that like to come back? Was there a reason why? Were you considering retirement, but no, you know, an opportunity to come back to Miami? It's down the street. You know, what went through your mind when all that took place? Was that 2017?
Yeah, I was. So I always kept a home here, and we came here in the off season. Married a Florida girl, so we were staying in South Florida.
Yeah.
You know, after football and in the off seasons.
You've seen that movie.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
but I was considering retirement. You know, I felt the body kind of breaking down. I wasn't able to play as many plays and make it through a season, but was still feeling good. So came home for an off season, kind of in the gray area, and not knowing where I was going to be. And Miami called. I knew still a bunch of guys on the team. So I thought, you know, why not? Time to mentor players, and you know, still going out there and competing and savoring. You know, probably knowing it's my last year, savoring every moment was pretty awesome.
So we started this thing this season, and I think you'll appreciate this since you're on
The offensive
Juice's side of the ball, and he's a guy who's made a few plays in the
Correct.
2-minute drill. So this is the fish tank 2-minute drill. We try and move a little fast pace. I have no doubt that he's up for the challenge. So are you going? Okay, we got the clock.
Yep,
The
I'll go
clock
first.
is ready. You hitting the first question?
I'll
here?
go first here.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Ready.
All right, we got to make sure everybody's lined up. Okay.
Rumor has it there are photos of you as a child wearing Notre Dame, Dallas Cowboy, and Miami Dolphins gear. Crazy coincidence, self-fulfilling prophecy, or something more supernatural?
Something more supernatural. I don't know how the hell that happened. It's the truth.
Is it?
And I was probably like 8 years old.
That is crazy.
Yep.
And you had just different pictures of you wearing all these different outfits.
No, I
Oh,
was
it
in
was
one picture, and I had a cowboy ball,
It's
Notre
one
Dame
picture?
jacket, and a dolphin hat.
That's friggin' crazy.
I guess I was confused.
We need that
but it
pic.
was a premonition.
You weren't confused. You knew exactly
Yeah.
what the hell you were going to do. We got to get that picture.
Put it on Wikipedia.
That is great. Too funny. All right, your 24 TD receptions in the Miami Dolphins tight end are the second most by a tight end in team history. I don't know if you knew that. Do you have any idea who has the most?
I love my guy Joe Rose. I don't think it's him, but I'm just gonna say
Rose. Just to get him in here. Good, that's a good.
Keith Byers?
No. So Keith didn't play tight end until his last year, and he was pissed about it. He was fullback. So Bruce Hardy had 25.
Oh, okay.
But I think in like 11 seasons. So
Right.
24 in, what did you play, 6 seasons here in Miami? 5?
Yep, 6.
Yeah, pretty damn impressive.
We've established that you are a man about town here in South Florida. What's the best Italian restaurant to get food down here?
Gotta go Anthony's Runway. It's just great. I'm missing it. It's getting renovated right now. I can't wait. That and Casa D'Angelo.
Speaking of being a man about town, what was more exciting for your teammates? A night out on South Beach or a day in the cold tub the morning after hearing about your night out on South Beach?
Depends who it was.
Right.
For me, it was probably the night out.
Yeah,
For them who maybe weren't with me, it was probably the cold tub.
I love it.
But I love the amenities that the locker room provided, but I also liked sharing some stories and seeing what South Florida had to offer out there.
No question. We're just going to blow through the damn 2 minutes. We got these
I love
questions.
it.
So we
Yeah,
got
Keep going. I'm good.
All right, your 24 Dolphins TDs in 6 years were thrown by 7 different guys, 7 different passers.
Wow.
Can you name all 7?
Ooh.
Chad Pennington, Matt Moore, Chad Henne, Ryan Tannehill, David Garrard. Did I catch one from him? No.
You were doing great.
Tyler Thigpen.
Yep.
We talked about one already.
Ronnie.
Ronnie Brown.
Ronnie
right?
Brown.
You're missing one.
Oh, he's going to be pissed.
He might be. And he's a little pissy.
Yeah, he's a little pissy guy.
It was your last year here.
Oh, Jay.
Jay Cutler.
Cuddy.
That's right.
Oh, Cuddy.
That's pretty good. And
That
in
was real
order.
good.
In
Yeah,
order,
they
which I
had
guess
it,
makes
yeah.
sense in order of the amount of touchdowns they threw you. All right, final question. Is it true that you speak fluent Italian?
Another Wikipedia false.
Okay. Well, then I guess there is no question. We were going to ask if you could say dive into the fish tank in Italian, but we got no shot.
And I think it said Mandarin, too, on there. My brother and his boys went off
They
the,
did a great
the
job.
radar
I love
with
it.
that.
You
Yeah.
did a
I
great
love
job
it.
with
Yeah.
that.
That was great. Well, that was kind of a 2-minute drill. Poor clock management on our behalf, but great work on yours.
Yeah,
Good
thank you.
stuff, man. It was a lot of fun. It was requested not only by our listeners, but also from the folks up above that helped produce this. They're like, Fasano needs to get in the tank.
Absolutely.
So thank you for making us
Thank
look
you for
good,
having
man.
me.
Hey,
Yeah.
Thanks for diving in, Anthony.
Yeah, of course. I'd love to be back.
Awesome. We're going to hold you to it.
Yes, sir.
Good.